welcome to Our Point of View talk show. Thank you so much for being with us on Facebook Live. I would like to say hello to Captain Jackson. How you doing? You made it. Good to see you.
Yes, I did. Hey, everybody.
Good. Now we're just waiting for Derek to get here. He'll be here in a few minutes. Our other host, Derek Jackson, he's on location, so he's going to pop in and out for us. And when I like to go ahead and introduce our guest that we have tonight, we have Miss Cassandra. How are you, Miss Cassandra?
I am wonderful. How's everyone doing?
Great.
Great.
And then we have Lynette. Hey, Lynette.
Hey. Hello,
Welcome
everyone.
back.
Thank you.
Then we have Cedric. Cedric, thank you for joining us.
Well, it's my pleasure to join y'all. I'm sorry I missed the last couple, but I'm here now. That's what's important, right?
Not a problem. So, Eric, you want to lead us into what we're going to be talking about today?
Well, yes, I will. And I'm going to certainly look to you for a little assistance, being as though I just literally walked in. But what we're going to talk about today on this wonderful episode of Our Point of View, we're going to be talking about Zoom and virtual meeting etiquette. That is something that, based on what we've been going through, since beginning, I might as well say since the beginning of the year, we've transitioned from the normal meeting, office setting meeting, to this of a virtual nature. As you can see, we all have different backgrounds and different contrasts, and here I'm here in my dad's old office. In full disclosure, I'm actually in California, so I'm on location in California, in my hometown of Pasadena, California, visiting with my parents. But this is my dad's office, and my dad's office background is his library. So we all have varying backgrounds and so forth. But with that said, there's still some virtual rules of etiquette that are certainly going to be worth discussing. The pros and cons, what they are, what's allowable, what's not. So that's going to be one of the subject matters that we're going to discuss, that I know is going to create a lot of discussion, perhaps even debate, and certainly to be a fruitful discussion. But what else?
Great. So we're going to be talking about virtual gatherings. So has anyone ever been to a virtual gathering? Cassandra?
Yeah, I have. Because of the nature of the different areas that I work in, I have done virtual gatherings. Yeah.
Okay. And you're an actor too, correct? You're an actress, correct?
Absolutely.
Now, How does that work with your auditions? Do you do your auditions virtually?
I've done multiple virtual auditions recently since COVID, and they have been very successful. I've gotten, I think, every role that I've put in for so far.
Awesome.
Wow, that's
so it's
good.
Working. Mm-hmm.
Right. So do you think you like that better or
No. No. I like doing the tape and sending it to the casting director or the director. And that's good for me. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a different atmosphere now.
Okay. Now, what about you, Cedric? Have you ever been to any type of a virtual gathering?
No. It's been pretty much face to face. But I've seen some examples of it, and I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna stay. But because I like to look at a person's face. I like to see their body movements. I like to see surroundings, like the whole 9 yards. And, this kind of does some of it, but not enough.
Right. Okay.
But,
So
but
what
I do
about
have fun. You see some of the things where the reporters, the kids show up, the cat shows up, you know what I mean, and whatever. And the whole thing is taken over right by that, and that's I think that's cool, And hopefully nobody gets up too high, and so the only thing they're wearing is a suit jacket and a tie and a shirt. You know what I mean?
Right. That's part of the
etiquette, right?
That's part of the etiquette. Yes. So what about you, Miss Lynette? Have you ever been to a virtual gathering other than
all day, every day for work?
Yeah, for work meetings.
Other than that, no, except for when I've done our point of view once before, but other than that, no. And I'm on the fence with that 50-50. I'm like, is it Cedric? I'm
Yeah.
like him. I like interaction. I like to be kind of face to face. I'm not a fan of Zoom meetings and things like that. I would prefer us look at each other face to face to talk. But this is what we have to do. This is the time. This is the
Yeah.
new era. So we have to do what we have to do. But yeah, so it's an everyday thing for me.
Mhm.
Wow.
Well, I've been to a virtual wedding on Zoom.
Mm.
I got dressed up. I did my hair, my makeup, put my dress on, had my jewelry on, everything, you know, and I was on time and sat right down in front of the computer. And I'm like, I mean, I didn't even put any cologne on. I'm like, you know, like I didn't have shoes on. I'm just sitting there, but you know, from the waist up, I was dressed up. But the only thing I didn't like about it is that you really couldn't see. You couldn't, you know, maneuver around the camera. Wherever they put the camera, that's it. That's all you saw. You know,
Right.
so you know, I liked it for the simple fact that I was able to participate. I was able to be there, but I wasn't able to be there, you know, physically, you know,
Right.
but I was able to stay safe, but I was able to, you know, to be there. So it's like with Lynette, I'm on the fence about it too. I mean, I like the physical contact. I like to be able to see a person and touch a person and things like that.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I've seen it where people have had funerals, virtual
Mm.
funerals, and
Yep.
mm-mm.
Yeah. I
Baby
was
showers and things. You did what? You did a funeral?
Now I was supposed to attend a virtual funeral on Periscope. I think it's called Periscope. Yeah.
Mhm.
But the daughter, she was, you know, a real good friend of mine. Her mom passed this, you know, a couple of months ago, and her daughter was setting up the virtual service so we could see it on Periscope. But apparently she didn't know how to. Something happened. I can't say she didn't know how, but something happened where we weren't able to view it. There was people sitting in the, you know, in the virtual waiting room waiting to get in, and I felt really bad because I wanted to be there for my girlfriend, you know, but there was nothing I could really say or do about it, you know. But like funeral, no, I don't think I would want to do that. No, I'd rather be there in person for a person. Even though now they limit it to like only 25 to 30 people. You can't have like a big funeral anymore. So
You know, I don't believe that from this core group that we're having this discussion with, I don't believe we're going to get any pushback on those thoughts of, you know, going 50-50 or even going 75-25 in favor of what we're traditionally accustomed to. I mean, that personal touch, being able to converse with someone up close and personal. Yeah, you can do the virtual funeral, but it's nothing like being there in person.
support, yeah.
Yeah, showing that support, showing the love, the hugs, the wishes of peace and understanding about what's taking place. You can't do that.
Yeah.
But this is kind of the hand we've been dealt. And so I guess from my perspective, my point of view, right? I've just tried to make it just as reasonably feasible and enjoyable as we can, you know, as Ms. Cassandra said, you know, it's nothing like doing that audition because they can get the true essence, they can get the true feeling, they can see the
Right.
true emotion of what you're trying to convey.
Right.
And it's kind of like texting, you know, you're trying to text someone a message and you can really hide behind a text
Mm-hmm.
because you can't, I mean, you can send the bold, the large case or emboldened letters to emphasize your yelling or using strong language, but it's nothing like being there in person, having that one-on-one conversation. You know, so I understand what Ms. Cassandra's saying, what Ms. Jackson's saying, what Brother Cedric is saying. So I'm with y'all. I'm with y'all. Believe me, I am.
It's
Yeah.
been, I can say I've performed two weddings, virtual weddings, in the last couple of months. And I've also done homegoing. So for me, it's important to be able to still deliver you know, what needs to be done, and
Right.
for families to be able to share in that with their loved ones, even though they can't be there. The couple that I married last week, she was 74, he was 80, 83.
Yeah.
And so,
I
and
Mm.
saw
so they had,
perfect.
so they had family all around the country that wanted to be there, but because of their ages, they
Right.
had to limit it to like 10 people. So
Yeah.
it was, you know, it was beautiful. It was so beautiful. So even though it's virtual, it's up to the person that is conducting, whether it's a homegoing, whether it's a bridal part, whatever, to make sure that everyone feels a part of what's happening. And so for me, that's my job, and I love it.
Yeah, yeah. I went to a surprise birthday party and they had masks there for you. They had hand sanitizer on all the tables. They had people serving the food. They wouldn't allow you to, get the food yourself. So they did a lot to make sure that you were safe.
Yeah.
They did a lot to make sure you were safe. So I really enjoyed that. And if you weren't eating, you had your mask on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So some
No,
things, yeah. Yes, Cedric.
Oh, well, I was going to say that it just takes away from me the virtual. And when you're talking about weddings, I was thinking about one of my niece's weddings that she had down in Tampa, and it was off the chain, And when you see pictures of it, of course they have to stop. They take pictures of the groom and the pictures of these people together. But when you take a streaming video of the whole thing, it's like, and then seeing it's just like something you just can't produce, And like I was out in the Grand Canyon and we was walking around that glass thing on the north side of the face Grand Canyon.
Yes, sir.
And you just can't. I took pictures of Grand Canyon all kind of ways. You just cannot. And Yellowstone Park, I did some video. You can't do it. You can't do it. You say, hey, look, I'm out in Yellowstone Park. Look at this geyser, right? And everywhere you walk, this geyser popping, everything. The cold cotton is ready to blow, and the smell of the zinc is. You just can't describe it. You can't see it. You can't smell it, touch it, and taste it. And I've been doing. I kind of gave up tractor trailer driving. I took pictures of snowstorms, driving and stuff like that. You don't get the whole sensation of the truck going all over the highway. And then I was talking to some ladies, her girlfriend, a fiance, that she never really met personally. She said she lives in Quebec. She's a French lady. And here she was riding my Uber, and she's talking, and actually I'm conversing with them and everything. We're talking about Atlanta because I'm an Atlanta historian and stuff. And like, just so sweet, just like she's sitting right next to her in the car. But what? I just can't. It just don't. I'm sorry, but yeah, it's good to know you. It's good long distance relationship. Yeah. But I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
It is.
But I be telling my age, but I want to ask anybody remember the Jetsons back in the 60s and 70s, the cartoon, the Jetsons? You remember that? You remember had this video thing? So when a girlfriend called, she had this whole mask and everything. She puts it up, put a mask on. She's dressed up. She's nice. Her hair done, nails done and everything. Then as soon as she put it down, she's all dragging and everything, trying to have her first cup of coffee. I mean, that's where we're at. I mean, really. And
we're here.
Yeah, we're here, right?
Yeah, we're here with it. And, we're talking about events, weddings and funerals. But, these folks like Match.com and some of the, you're doing dating now like this.
Well, they were doing dating before that. They were doing dating online before that. So,
but it's really, it's really increased, and it's really.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Broad.
And you never really meet the person. You never really actually meet the person. I mean, you go all the way from, from being the person first time to engagement and marriage, right? And you never really meet the person. I mean, that's a little much, but that seems to be the time that everybody's getting comfortable with it. But it's just like a little too much for me. I gotta at least, see, touch, feel.
And that's true.
What I mean?
That's true. But for others, it's a safety issue, and for some, because allowing them to do a face-to-face for the first meeting via this medium, it works for folks.
Right.
Society has changed a little bit differently, and I'm not trust and believe what I'm about to say is not in any way, shape, or form chauvinistic, but especially as it pertains to our ladies. It's kind of a different. The element can be a little bit different. That's not to say that ladies can't hold their own, because they certainly can. But the element, especially in the dating realm, tends to be a little bit different. And at least for that first meeting, since we have this platform, hey, let me check you out. Let me see what you look like. You can't get the feel. You don't get the
Okay.
smell. You don't get the
Yeah.
the close contact, the
Mhm.
non-touching close contact. But hey, you know,
Okay. Okay, but let me throw something at you, right?
okay,
Okay, it's Friday night, right? Or another Saturday night, ain't got nobody. You go to grown folks over there off National Highway, right? And
Uh-uh.
so you see this sister standing over there. She looks at you, look at her.
right,
You might dance, you talk, you dance with her. I mean, the whole 9 yards. And me, I like to look at a woman's eyes when I talk to her. But
yeah,
if she turns her head for a minute, and then when she go down to the bathroom, she looks back to see if you're checking. You know what I mean? And
right,
it's like, but now, okay, then if I go to date.com, right, or
mhm,
whatever, and I'm sitting there watching her, she smiles, she's nice, she looks, everything looks perfect, the house looks perfect, everything. But hey, but give that and grown folks, give me grown folks. You know what I mean? Even if you
brother,
got a man,
brother, you're not gonna get any pushback from me on that. I agree with you 100%. I
That's
agree
the
with
same.
you.
That's the same when you go out, like anywhere now, and you see people. Everybody has on a mask, so you don't know what they look like,
Right.
and you don't know whether they're actually speaking unless you're up close on them to hear it. Only thing
Mhm.
you'll notice is like if they, do their head, like nod, like to say hello with their head. That's the only way you really know if somebody's speaking to you.
but
So
they get, now they get to tug their mask a little bit, like, show you what they look like. They don't need me to blind like I got real teeth, you know what I mean? But it's just like meeting you, right? First time I met you and everything when I was in the show. Now on the camera, you still nice, you're Miss Lewis and everything. But personally seeing you, you know what I mean? That is like that's 180 degrees. I'm not flirting. I am, but I'm not. You're 180 degrees, right? I mean, you're a presence. You're a presence, right? You know what I mean? But you're a presence too, but because
it's
I
called
know you.
professionalism.
Yeah. But you know how that goes, right? Everybody too.
He's not
But
flirting, but he
Yeah,
is.
he's not
So,
flirting.
okay. Keep notes on that.
I
Yeah.
have,
yeah.
I have my pen. Yeah.
Yes.
Hey,
but,
Now
but
let's talk about
go ahead.
virtual education, like with the kids, having to do online work now.
mhm, mhm.
Let's talk about that. How is that?
Well, my son, my 16-year-old, he's at Stockbridge High School, and they're doing virtual learning. And once again, this whole virtual thing really has just invaded our ranks almost unexpectedly. So we've had to really adapt to this on the fly.
Mhm.
He misses seeing his friends in person.
Yeah.
All the things, and he's in high school, right? So all the things that you can think about, all the interactions in high school with the girlfriends or with the fellas, and just those, sports, walking in the hallway, in between classes, you can't replicate that obviously in a virtual setting. But that's kind of the hand we've been dealt. Now, the good thing is there are some schools that have relaxed that to some extent and have allowed students in schools. Remember, it wasn't all that long ago we were talking about smaller class sizes, and boy, did we get them.
You got it. Yeah.
We got them,
Well,
but we
That's an
never
You have to-
understatement.
sent.
But you have to remember too, before all this happened, there was online schooling. So there were kids who were actually at home, on the computer doing their classwork.
Yeah, but that was by choice. That's a
Right.
That
different
that
story.
was
That
my
was by
choice, but
choice.
it
Yep.
wasn't like it was something new. It's but a lot of parents were talking about trying to get their children into online school, and because of the way the education system was changing. But now it's actually happening. So it's like you have to actually deal with your child as far as the education.
I
You know.
think as a former teacher,
Mhm.
I taught in private school for several years, and I can definitely tell you that it has given my friends that have children, it has given them a new appreciation for teachers.
Oh,
You
absolutely.
didn't understand what was going on. Now they're at home with you, and you got to try to get them to pay attention to a computer for a certain period.
Right.
It's a whole nother animal. I know we're talking about virtual, and some people have, like it, some people don't like it. But the bottom line is the reason why we are having to do this. It's
The
important for us
safety.
to remember, for everybody's sake. People like me, I have pre-existing conditions.
Right.
I can't afford, to go places and interact with people, more than I do right now. What I do already with acting is dangerous enough. But
Right.
I think that we got to remember to keep it in perspective. There are lives being saved by you doing virtual stuff.
That's
And
true.
I did an event last weekend or weekend before last. I directed a 400 person event, Black I Am Awards. It was in a huge space, but Lord knows I was like, oh my God, what did I sign up for? But you got to think about all those things. It's dangerous.
Right.
It's dangerous to people to be out there. And that many people, if it was not for the money that I needed, I would not
Monty.
have been there. But you gotta consider why we're doing what we're doing.
I think we all do consider it. I think we all know, and we have all been touched by this virus in one way or another. I think we all have for the most part. But I think it's okay to have conversation about,
Oh,
because some
absolutely.
people, because some people eventually, and Captain Jackson, I think he touched on it a little bit. You have people that end up being depressed by this thing.
Yeah.
They can't touch the body. People need some type of affection or type, interaction with people. Yes, we are very aware and we know the ramifications of getting out there and being in different places we have no business being, and we need to social distance. But to have this conversation kind of put you at ease to know that you're not alone, and to know this is what we're all thinking, that we really want to see each other. We know we can't, but the purpose of it, yes, we definitely know that this virus, of course, we know it's deadly, but again, just to have this kind of conversation to talk about it is what a lot of us need, and people are watching need to hear that they're not alone in this, because there's a lot of stuff people have anxiety issues. I know a lot of people are taking anxiety medicine right now that I'm like, what?
Never
You
took
know,
it before.
Never took it before,
Right.
but they have anxiety and have alone issues and things like that. So I think that's the reason why we're here. I think we all are very aware, very, very aware.
Yeah.
But
And
a lot of people, to be honest, a lot of people act like they don't understand that.
That is true.
And it's very sad because
True.
they're still taking the chances and putting multiple people at risk.
You're right.
So, but I totally get it. We have to look out for each other. I understand the anxiety part. Being in ministry, I get people calling me 2, 3, 4 o'clock almost every night.
Yeah.
I think Jackie can attest to, it's been times when we've been on, I've been on Facebook 2 o'clock in the morning, like, what are you doing on here? What are you doing on here? Because you're dealing with people and their issues. So I
Right,
totally get
right.
that. I
Yeah,
totally
yeah.
understand.
But education. When you guys were talking about education and everything, that's the only thing that I see where it really makes a sense to me, virtual learning, because like I got 4 boys and 1 daughter. They're grown now. They're in their 30s and 40s now. But middle school was like a nightmare. If I could do it all over again, as soon as they hit middle school, they come out of middle school, it would have been virtual learning. They would have never went anywhere. And then I come from the back in the days when they had a different type of education model, where they were letting people learn the ability to love to learn, to love to read, and a lot of that self-taught. But I think it's a good example now that the family is really responsible for the child's education. The family don't educate the child. When you get into your 60s and you look back, like I am close to 70 now, you look back and you see how that they taught you everything. They taught you how to cook. They taught you how to wash. They taught you how to put the roof on the house, everything. You learned a trade from your family, and you went to school. So when you went to school and you took like a math course, it's where I don't know what I need with algebra and math. And then you take them try to lay out how many tiles you need for a roof. You know, this is real stuff. How many like my dad had was bricking and laying down a foundation for how much concrete you need to pour, how many square feet of concrete. All this comes from, you know, simple math, right? And learning how to do things, learning how to drive a car, for instance, or a truck, or fly a plane. It takes a certain amount of self-learning that you had to involve yourself in, or to love to learn that you want to learn this. And I think this is a good thing about virtual education because it gives you more access to more things if you use it, and information. If you take your time to really stop listening and just reading something and accepting it, and then actually follow along the trail of the author or the background that why you develop all this, and start doing your own little light research, easy, bang, 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 then you know something. Because every time I talk to people, I say, look, Google it up, or do this, do that, research. Don't look at the author, look at the author's acknowledgement, go from there. So I think now we have a better platform to really learn if you want to love to learn. But at the same time, you know, you still need that human interaction. You need people to learn, to see people, to reinforce that what's going on is right and it's positive. This is what's going on. This is what we learned. This is what we're doing. So this is a positive thing, right? And then you accept that, and the camaraderie, you know, that everybody knows certain things. And then next thing we use the word, I hate, common sense, the phrase common sense, you know, but that's part of your background, you're growing up, your culture, and that develops you and makes you as a person. But there are negative points.
What it is, Mr. Sims, I think what it is that now the children have to stay at home to do their have their learning, or have to be online, and the parents have to have someone with that child at home. So that means that they're going to have to stay home from work, or they're going to have to, you know, work from home. So that's where the issue is. I don't think it's so much that, you know, they don't want their, you know, they don't want to be involved in their child's education. It's about, well, they have to get out and work. So somebody has to watch the child who wouldn't normally watch the child during those hours, because the child will be in school. Now a parent has to worry about, well, who's going to watch Johnny while he's at home, you know, doing his virtual learning? I have to go to work. So that's where the issue is, I believe. It's not so much about not wanting to be involved. And once they, you know, shut things down for a while and everybody was staying home, and then they were doing the learning online, then the parents got to see how the children were, how they weren't paying attention, they weren't focusing on everything, they weren't even listening to them. And then they, you know, they like
capital punishment.
that they have a better value of respect for the teachers now that they saw how the children were acting. They're trying to get their own kids out of the classroom. They're trying to kick them out the classroom and have somebody come and take, because they see how bad they are. You know, so it's not, to me, it's not about not wanting to be involved. It's about having to be the breadwinner, having to take care of home. And, you know, that's why that child goes to school at a certain period of time during the day. So that way you have that ability to go to work during that time.
You know, I take that point. I got a sister that she went through a career with AP, with Atlanta Public Schools, and she was a principal over Decatur, and now she's back with public. And I've seen how horrible these kids are. But at the same time, though, but this is okay. But anyway, the parents are even worse when they don't know, right? But you know, and but when they come in like this, it's a good chance for them to see it. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. But the only time, but when you put work and a job in front of your kids, I mean, these people push. My child got to go to school. Push them out to school. The hell with the coronavirus, right? This is a real thing. Oh, the kids ain't gonna get so sick. The kids ain't gonna do this. Forget the fact they might have a scar tissue, they might have organ damage, right? Even though they don't get sick and stuff. Forget that. My kid got to go to school, and I got to do this. Now, you know, that is a very slippery slope. You know what I mean? Well, why have a cure anyway? Why give the kids inoculation, right? If I'm gonna push them off to do this here, and I don't care. You know, I care about it, but I don't care. You know, because I got to do this. I got to have my life. You know, this is a thing that kind of messed up education and families in general when people start looking at their specific thing, and that's all they had to do. Now it's real. You know, like I said, I had kids and I had to work. I had to do stuff that I didn't want to do to make sure I had an income, a roof over these children's head, and they were able to go and do the things they needed to do. You know, not no $500 Nike, but you know, just to have a pair of shoes on. That's in my voice, right? And a roof over their head, not a Taj Mahal, but you know, 4-bedroom, 1-bath. But anyway, you know, I'm just saying. But this is what's important. But then, when you accumulate everything, this is you. When you accumulate everything else with it, you know what? You know, it might be better. My kids stay home. I try, and I learned too. I learned to be able to teach them something. You know what I mean? Or to teach them. It might be the best thing to do. And some way I'm going to make it happen. Well, you say virtual. They got virtual jobs now. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna do everything I can. I'm not gonna put me first, and I'm gonna put my children first, but I'm gonna put us first, and the country first, and my neighborhood first. You know, put all these first things, and then let me come in where I become a part of this, and not that I have to be totally separate. You know what I mean, from everything. And because this thing ain't over with, it's gonna keep growing. It's still gonna be a lot of fear factors out of about the vaccine and everything, not just the old thing about the experimentation on black women and black men over the last 100 or so years, but genetic manipulation, the CRISPR. Yeah, y'all, you know, since you're home and you can look at virtual thing, look up CRISPR, genetic manipulation. We start talking about this vaccine, and then but so you can learn something. But anyway, these are the times that we gonna really have to just accept certain things. I'm gonna have to take certain risks that are just like you do your business, you come with the show and everything. When you first started, you had a certain amount of risk that you took to make this happen. And we have to look at that. And now risk is not, it's about the whole body, right? All of us, right? And I understand it, but now you and how people going insane. My ex-wife, what my children would tell me that she cooked and everything. They come out, she hand them a plate, she talked to them a couple of minutes, and then she pushes them out the door, or she runs into the back, she runs into a bedroom. You know what I mean? And that's the whole thing. She loves to cook dinner. She just for her family. She loves to have family together, everybody. But this year, and then at my daughter's wedding, she was acting crazy. She was like, you know, not crazy, but she was so distant from everything. She wanted to be there. She was glad to be there, but you couldn't get with him. I mean, 6 feet, that was putting it mild. She was like 10 feet away from everybody, you know.
That's that anxiety.
Yeah. People are afraid.
Yeah.
People are afraid of, you know, what will happen. Try this. Yes. Yes.
Well, can I say this real quick? It's easier said than done to say that when you're a parent and you got kids in the house. My kids are grown, so but my oldest daughter, she has 2 boys, and they're in the house doing their virtual learning. It is hard. It is not easy. She takes her lunch break. She works from home, so she has to take her lunch break to prepare lunch for them for their lunch break, and then they're pulling her every 5 minutes when they don't understand something, and then they may have a break for virtual learning for about 10 minutes, so they run into her. So it's easier said than done when we hadn't had to do it.
Right.
Because I didn't have to do it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think I could. I would have to do it.
I know I would to do it.
I mean, if you put in perspective, right? If you did do that, and that was your life, you're gonna have to do it. You're gonna have to learn. You're gonna have to become a part of it. You know, like I hear people talking about strong women, a strong man, and everything they have to do, like do this and everything. Listen, you know, I remember when out here in Douglasville, people had fun. One lady, she had a country stove. She cooked for 20 kids. She made sure everybody was fed, cooked on a stove. You know, this will go get the chicken. This will go get this. She make biscuits, everything 3 times a day, buttermilk, whatever. And she had a life, and the kids had a life. I don't know how much life she had, but everybody was in harmony. Everybody had everything that they wanted, but they had everything that they needed. And I think this is a time that we had to, like, you know, start looking at this. We had to downsize. We might not have these big houses. We might have to have where we can get a smaller mortgage. We might have to organize so we can spend more time with our children at certain times, right? And our job, or they have to understand, you know, this, right? And then he put aside, write this down, record this, what you don't understand, like my mom used to do, you know, right? You know, she had 4 kids, right? And she was a mom, and she had a job, you know, but she had, you know, I had my dad there, he had a job and everything, but it was just like, everybody had a chore. Even I had a chore. Wash dishes, wash it, cook when I was 6 years old, whatever. Change diapers. Everybody in the family had a chore. You know what I'm saying? But we have a society. I don't want my kid to have to cook. I don't want my daughter to have to cook. I don't want my son to have to do this or pick up this or go out there and take the garbage out. Oh, you know, this to me is crazy because now you finding out this doesn't work. It's time that we all get involved. And then if you got kids that having a problem, then they know, look, wait a minute, mom's gonna do this here. I'm gonna write this down, put it down, and try to research it myself because I know if I go to this thing here, I can pop up 3 seconds, go to the dictionary definition, linguistics. I got all the information right here. Well, I'm not about mom for a moment. Mom got to do this for us. But then when I go to mom, we get together. Mom, let's work this out. You know what I mean? This is what I need. But we don't. Our kids are not like that. You know, I want it now. I want it then. Let's do it.
Well, you know, I want to, Mr. Sanders,
I tell you, I got 5 kids, 4 boys and 1 girl. The girl was the hardest. I tell you that. And they 30s, you know, and they still in contact with me, right? So it wasn't too bad. And now they don't have to call me. They don't call me asking for things. They call me to check on them. Now that's a bit. Now you know that's a big thing.
Now let me yield to Ms. Cassandra because I know she's been wanting to jump in and make a point or make a comment rather.
Yeah, you know, my big thing is I get what you say about the parenting and the parents and mothers, whoever need to stay home. But let's consider, especially in our community, most of our families are led by single women.
Women, yes.
You got a single woman in a household that is literally handling everything. She is responsible for the food, the rent, the light, the gas, everything. So when you take her off of work, you're talking about an entire family falling apart. And what we're having right now is and I get the calls on a daily basis, mothers that are frantic because they don't know how they're going to feed their children. They don't know how they're going to pay the rent because they've had to stay home to take care of, especially their younger children. If you have older children, that's something different. But you can't even expect them to sit at a computer and do work if you're not there. They're gonna be on their phone and doing everything else. So it puts people in a very serious, situation. And I feel so bad for mothers today. Thank God my children are 40 and 44, 45, whatever. I don't know how old they are, but they are.
I'm with you. I am so
they
with
up
you.
there. I don't know. They're somewhere. I got two of them, 40 and 44, I think. But we have to remember that people are suffering right now and they're hurting and they don't know what to do. And I just hate to see people that are desperate do what? Desperate things. And we don't want to see that, we don't want to see that.
You so right. And as Ms. Lewis know, that I've been, most of my life. My mother started me out doing work in the community and stuff like that since I was 9 years old. And I've been doing the ex-Black Panther, the whole 9 things. But now, the more that I get involved, the more resources I see available for people. It's just that we don't have the familiar or responsibility of different people to put all this together. As a community, those things can be helped or taken care of. And there's some communities, they're taking like smaller classes. They're the mothers are getting together, forming smaller classes, especially for the younger children. Smaller classes, they know, quickly who may have this, who might be a problem, like, this type of thing. And they still grow up like a family. They get that human interaction. But there's things that we can do that we throw off. And then, like, I take your point as mothers, mothers having problems. But the mother, like, they didn't have an opportunity to be to learn mothering, and then the mother, you go back 3 generations, like, you look at some of my great grandma, look at this, like, what, you have what problem? What, you gotta do what? Okay.
That's because you're going back to the mentality of village that raises a family.
Exactly. We don't have that anymore.
We don't have that anymore.
We don't have that anymore.
There's a village to raise them. You're absolutely right. But those villages are not there anymore.
Not there anymore.
We don't have the villages and we don't have the men in the house.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, you know what? Because that's why we got to stop listening to Oprah Winfrey and everybody else, right? And Phil Donahue and all the people. We got to start going back to having families, right? Families, right? So, if your husband might have these problems, he might not have the best job, right? He might not put you in the house. So what's the problem? What's the problem? It's people that still, it's women that still will keep their husband if he don't have the best job. If he ain't the most handsome, if he's stupid, but he's there.
Where are the husbands, though, Mr. Cedric? Where are the husbands? Where's the husbands? Because the men are not there. For most of the people that I deal with, there is no man around. There is no man helping.
It's what you're willing to call a man, what you're willing to do. There's plenty of men out there. But in Atlanta now, I can't say Atlanta.
Well, we're talking about the children's father. We're not just talking about a man.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
The children's father.
Well, isn't that a job too? Isn't that a job? Like my grandmother, my mother, there. Having a husband is a job. See what happens is, let me give a man's perspective. Now, I had all these kids, right? And, before we had the kids, oh, God, it was just like manna from heaven. I was the child. Everything I want. I was pampered baby. The first baby come in, wait a minute. Oh, I ain't got time. What you ain't got time for me? And on. Then it's the job. It's the career. It's the girlfriend. I got to have time for me. And the dude, he's sitting up there. And on the outside, right, he looking all around, then all of a sudden women come to him, and even her mother's or sister's girlfriend, why don't you come over here? And that, hey, this is the humanity.
That's a whole nother show.
That's a whole nother show. It sure is.
It is, but I didn't bring it up. You said where the men at? You
No,
know,
I'm talking about in these homes where the mothers are trying to
about with the
virtually
children?
teach. That's the
Talking
perspective
about
I was
relationships.
talking about, you know?
and then you say single mothers, right? You talk to single mother raising boys, right? Or being boys and stuff like that. And you talk to single mother raising daughters. You got two different perspectives, right? Because they don't want their sons to do this, they don't want their sons to do that, or they know this girlfriend, they don't want their son to get involved with this type of woman, and they don't want their sons to do nothing. You know what I mean? Then they tell me man in the house, they don't want to do nothing, right? And then all of a sudden, right, they come out, they gonna treat their women the same way. They gonna look at their mother, see who she dating, what she doing. They gonna look at women the same way, just like the women. Like they say, the women, my generation, and it turned out to be true. Girls used to find men that's like their dad. You know what I mean? And vice versa. And guys used to find women almost like their mother. I have some common. You always talk about what mother did, and husband, and my daddy did this, right? But see, this right now, they don't have that because, it wasn't that effort. Now it's easy. It's all about you. You don't have to pay the price. If your husband cheat on you or your wife cheat on you, you don't have to pay the price, right? You just kick them on out. And we have parties, divorce parties. Back in the day, we used to have parties where you bring people together. Yes, Village. Yes, is another show, but this is this show. This is the reality that we're living with, and we still gonna have to deal with life. We can't lock up that door, like you said. Some of us still got to go to work out here. Somebody got to go to work. Somebody got to feed these kids. Somebody got to make food and preparation with people because we don't do it ourselves anymore. Somebody still got to go out to the farm. But this is what we're dealing with. So we put in a holistic form. We really gonna have to get out there and then ration what we need and what we do, and try to really grow ourselves up.
Well, Mr. Cedric, like we explained before, that's a whole new show. So we're gonna bring it back. We're gonna bring it back to the virtual gatherings with the education that we were talking about.
But I
we
think
can go on and on and on about why the man is not in the house, why he's not helping out with the children. We can go on for days with that.
Sorry.
What we're trying to say is that we as women with younger children, well, my children are grown too, they're in their 40s and 30s, but they're overwhelmed now because there's virtual learning going on in the home, and it's just one parent there who was bringing in the money. So they have to educate their children, they have to make the money, they have to take care of the children, they have to entertain the children because they can't go out now. Everybody's afraid of the virus. So that's basically what we're talking about. We're talking about how we're overwhelmed now, how some of the women are overwhelmed with everything that's going on. What is it that, there are some men who are taking care of their children. Let's be 100. There are some. There are even some single fathers. There are either some single fathers too.
Well, those single fathers are having to deal with the same thing. Yeah. Trying to balance, and trying to work from home and keep track of the child and their schooling and staying up with what they're supposed to be turning in and all those things that you have mentioned, to Ms. Cassandra's point. Yeah, where are the men? Well, hopefully those men are at work.
There you go.
That's another show, Eric.
Well, just to the point just to the point of where are they when all this virtual learning is going on? Ideally, hopefully they would be at work. It would be great if both parents were in the home. How about that? But that's not the case.
Yeah.
So mama has got to bring everything forward. She's got to be security guard and nurse and principal.
She shouldn't have to because the child has a mother. She shouldn't have to. The child has a mother and a father. So with everything that's going on, you would think that the father would have some consideration and help the mother out.
Step up. Yeah.
You're saying that, but like Captain Jackson said, you would hope the father's at work. Like my oldest daughter, her husband goes to work. She was fortunate enough to work from home. And she told me this the other day. Yeah. She said, Ma, I work from home. She said, do you know they give me 1.5 minutes to go to the bathroom, to put my phone on pause just to go to the bathroom. Mind you, they understand that the kids are gonna, if you have children in the home, and she has 2 boys in the home, and if they're coming to her for different stuff. The other day she called me and she was like, can you help him with, she said, I am not a math guru, but can you help him with geometry? So she's having to play teacher in that aspect too, pulling up different stuff to show them, and that's helping her out to memory from what she had to do. That's hard too. So when you're working, cooking, cleaning, and trying to help them with school, playing teacher at the same time, that's not easy. While the husband is at work the majority of the time. So we can say that all day long, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's what it is. Hard. And I can't sit here. I know I would have to do it. I'm not saying I wouldn't do it, but I tip my hat off to these mothers that have to do that.
Absolutely.
I tip my hat off.
Absolutely.
It's not easy.
I told my granddaughters, right, and my great granddaughter. I told my granddaughters, I got great granddaughters. I say, give them to me. Oh, you have a problem? Oh, I said, give them to me.
That don't mean
Give
it's
them to
gonna
me.
work.
And hey, look, no, give them to me. It's gonna work. It's gonna work, right? Give them to me. It's
Well,
gonna
see,
work
and
one way
that's
or
a
another. You
see,
know what
that's
I'm saying?
a
Give them to me.
that's a
You know,
that's a
hey,
that's a
hey, you never
grandpapa
know.
luxury too.
That's
You
that
never know.
village.
Give them
Yeah.
to me. Don't
That-
worry about it. You
and-
know,
and
if you
that's-
can't do this, that, give them to me. You
and
know, you
that's
say you're having a hard time, you can't do, give them to me. And but you know, I guess that might have put them in a different perspective because now they don't seem to be having a problem, and they do have other they have grandmothers and stuff like that, other people in their life, right? And they have problems, right? Whether they you know, whatever. But you know, when we start, you know, and like I know Ms. Lewis, you keep saying this is a different show, but actually you bringing this. This is the show. I mean, we start talking about virtual. We're talking about separating our lives. Like all of a sudden, you don't really exist. You're a picture I'm looking at. If I didn't know you personally, if I didn't meet you too, Captain, I wouldn't actually know that you're a real person and what you had to go through, right? And so something about you. We had a couple shows together, and the other two sisters, right? But this is what I know. You know what I'm saying? But this is your life, right? Somehow we have to find a way to work. If we don't have a man at home, right? Then there's this lady down here down here, Warner Robins. She was talking about getting men, right? She said men teaching how to tie, right? I said, look, I'll be a grandfather, right? Or or a great grandfather. You know, for some of the mothers running around crazy, I'll be a grandfather. You know what I mean? Oh, child, sit down, right? Wait, you need help or something. But it's the fact of the matter is that, the men are here. We got to bring them back. We got to make it responsible. If you don't allow anybody to be responsible for their actions, what they do, they're never going to be responsible. I don't care what you do. I pick up guys, they're out here in the gym. You know what I mean? They're out here in the gym, right? They traveling across the country. You know where a lot of women at? And your daughters and some people, daughters and mothers, they living up these high rise downtown Atlanta. They traveling abroad and over Europe and everything. They doing all this stuff. But when it comes down to our family, our community,
absolutely nothing to do with it.
it does.
That has nothing to do with it.
Because if you have responsibility of family, you know that your responsibility is to your family. And you used to be old saying, family first, but it was God first, family second, the community third, and your race last. You know what I mean?
We cannot play the blame. We cannot play the blame game. That's not how that works. We can't blame, okay, because this mama is going on tour and this daddy not doing. We're talking about virtually learning in school. And we're on a whole nother level with something else. And we're talking about the mamas ain't doing right and the daddies ain't doing right. No, we're talking about how difficult it is for these kids to learn while they're at home, as opposed to going to school and they got recess and they transferring classes and they actually interacting with their friends and their teachers and things like that. It is extremely hard mentally on the parents as well as the kids. We can't now. We done went all the way to Italy. We're talking about.
Well, then tell me what's the solution? What's the plan? Who's responsible? Nobody responsible.
No. Well, let me tell you. That's a question. Okay. And Captain Jackson, any one of y'all can answer if you want. Because I've been talking too. So go right ahead.
Go ahead, Lynette.
Okay, I can tell you who. How do you solve this? Is what we're doing right now. We have to do what we have to do. We may not want to do it, but we have to do what we have to do. If we, as a parent, if we have kids that are at home, whether we have to work away from the home or not, we made a way. There are parents that have had to purchase desks, laptops. They've had to do all that they could to make it comfortable for that child to learn. So it is happening. Not saying to the best of our ability, but it is happening. This is not old school where we was walking to school or jumping on the school bus. You don't see a yellow bus going down the street now. Okay. Well, whatever you had to do. The point is,
we're not in a brick and mortar anymore. The point is, we're at home.
Look, we don't see the buses going down the street because they're parked off on the side of the road so that the neighborhood can use the Wi-Fi. That's what the buses are.
Exactly.
Oh yeah. That's good.
Exactly.
See, that's solutions. That's solutions, right? That's a community.
Right, but we can't talk about how the mama over there in Italy.
Well, we can because of the responsibility of your community, right? It's just like, y'all heard the old stories your grandmother, somebody told you got in trouble down the hill or somewhere, you got your butt sprained, you went up the hill, everybody was telling, and when you got home, your mama knew what's going on. If you're hungry, somebody fed you, right? You had to go home to eat. You out playing with somebody, you're hungry, they're gonna feed you. But this is what responsibility.
Back to that village again.
Like we
Right.
said earlier,
But-
the village is no
but
longer
one-
here. It doesn't exist anymore. It's still, I mean,
Oh.
we had it back in the day when we were growing up, but now people don't want you disciplining their kids. They don't want you saying nothing to their kids. And then
Absolutely.
people are afraid of saying things to people's kids because of the different
Oh,
charges you get for, you know, sexual assault or different things. So you're kind of afraid of what it is you can do and what you can't do. So the village is not there. So now there's a lot of single women who are trying to do this by themselves. And
Yeah.
now this is thrown in and you have a new normal. So it's like,
The-
you know, it's like trying to figure out how to do it.
You know, to
What-
Lynette's
what you
point,
saying? Okay, go ahead.
to
Go ahead.
Lynette's point, what's the solution? Again, the solution is what we're doing now. We're making do with what we have. You know, we have to, like I said, we have to go out and buy these laptops. We have to make a way for Wi-Fi. We got to be able to interact,
Yeah.
not just with our students during their class time, but with their teachers, because now they're doing Zoom conferences and Teams conferences with us,
All day.
and doing dinner and having time, you know, family time. And then for the spouse, provided their spouse is in the home, you know, for them to have their time to be able to keep their sanity so they can continue to do this the next day. So it's a constant work in progress.
Yeah.
There's always some little nuance around the curve to kind of throw everything awry, but I guess that's life, and that's what we have to do with. Right now, my son, in this whole virtual learning scheme, he was doing the recreation that he was doing. He plays basketball for the high school, so they were doing basketball until a couple of the basketball students popped up positive. So now they're not even doing any recreation
Contact
now.
sport.
That doesn't mean he can't go out in the backyard and, you know, shoot some hoops and do his thing in the backyard. But see, there's always something different around the corner. You
Say
know?
it again.
There's always something different around the corner.
Yep, it
know,
is.
And you just have to be able to improvise and adapt.
Adapt to it. Yes.
I was just talking
And
to my sister.
Unfortunately, one thing that I go through all the time when I deal with these different groups and these movements and guys want these ideas, they say we always got to study. One thing that I understand is that because if you ignore what worked in the past, then you have no future. You know, Benjamin Franklin said, you know, the study of history was all research. You know, you got to understand the failure and success of the past. So did Malcolm X say that. But listen, what is education? Education is not screens and somebody didacting somebody. Education is your ability to want to learn and a reason to learn. And that's been coming up ever since I can remember.
But somebody has to teach it to you.
You have to understand that this is a new normal. This is a new
Yeah.
normal. This is
And
not a
somebody's
choice.
still teaching you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're still being taught. The kids are still
Yeah.
being taught, but it's not like, well, they're choosing to just stay at home and learn online, you know,
Right.
and they're choosing
Well,
to stay home.
are they learning? Are they learning? Do they have a love to read? Who read classics nowadays? They don't even teach that in college unless you go to certain types of college, right? I mean, who understands the man? You read psychology, but you don't understand the human being and the pathos of human being. You don't understand that this is not new.
Everybody has a passion. Everybody has a passion for different things. Miss Cassandra is Miss Cassandra. What I'm saying is, you were a truck driver, and that's what you wanted to do. Miss Cassandra is a pastor, and she is also an actress. So you got Captain Jackson.
I'm a machinist. I'm a pilot.
Okay.
I'm original Black Panther.
That's
I
fine.
work for SCLC. Blah blah blah. Right. You know what I'm saying is, you know, that's because I love my people and I love to learn. You know, I could you know, math. You know, it might take me a while. You want to talk about physics or whatever, I can go there. You know, you want to talk about whatever.
You learned
But
the old school way. This is something new. This is
No.
the new.
It's a love to learn.
Hold on 1 second, Mr. Cedric. Go ahead, Miss Cassandra.
What I wanted to say is, you know, even as adults, right? The learning. Last week I was in continuing education classes to keep my certification with the Department of Mental Health, the Georgia Department of Mental Health. We had about 100 and something adults on the line, you know, trying to get our certification. We were in classes for 3 days from 10 in the morning until 5:30. Let me tell y'all something. I am 61 years. I was having all kind of issues. I was like, what? Where y'all at? I mean, it was like, I felt like I was an idiot almost. I was like, this is not easy. So it really brought me into understanding what parents parents are going through, because I'm sitting in a class with all of these people and we're trying to interact online. We had almost 100 people and it was crazy. So I get it. This is not even a new normal. This is a unnormal normal.
Normal,
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Unnormal,
It's not even normal anymore. It's like an unnormal normal, you know?
Right.
And
Yeah.
it was hard. And guess what? That was just the first 3 days. This Thursday, I have to go back into class Thursday, Friday, and Saturday to get my credits. Man, I'm dreading it.
But you know what? The thing about it is you're 61, but you're still learning. And that's
Still
the point.
learning.
We're
Still
learning every
Absolutely.
single day. We don't
Still
know
learning.
everything. We're not Einstein. We
Absolutely.
don't know everything. So
Yeah.
every day we're learning something new, regardless of what it is.
Absolutely.
Watching TV, anything. We're learning more
Yes.
about this coronavirus. So I mean,
Yes.
we're learning every day. Nobody knows everything.
Yes.
So
Yes.
regardless if you have 10 jobs or you've done this, you're a Renaissance man. It's a good thing. Okay, fine.
Mm-hmm.
We're still learning
We're
what
still
we like to do.
Yeah.
Well, what we like. I'm a reader. I like. Go ahead.
Well, I'm 69, right? I'll be 70 in March. I'm still learning, right? I be trying to explain to people I'm still learning, right? And I do that. I try to understand your point of view or where you coming from. But Occam's razor, sometimes the most simplest thing is education didactic to somebody, or is it instilling them the love to learn? It has to be something to make the sister there. I'm sorry, I don't remember your name. She's 61. She's going to be recertified. I was a truck driver to be certified. If I fly planes, I got to be certified because I love to do this. I want to do this, right? And because I can show people I'm doing something I think constructive, and I can show people how to do it. I teach people. I teach people how to drive a truck. I teach people a lot of things, right? I counsel people. I'm a minister too when I want to, right? And but some people don't want to hear because everything in front of us has got to be brand new. This is a different way. You know what? An old player told me a long time ago. The game's still the same. The word just changed. You know, we still have to instill values in our children, in these young parents, right? Because these young parents are my sons and daughters, right? We still got to feel valuable. If my son, I don't want to be with her because she said this, she said that. I said, boy, look here. You better go back in that house, take care of your kids. You know, of course, he didn't listen to me. He went with another woman, got some other kids, right? He loved his kids better, you know, like a single mother. But she had sense enough to get another man that could take her kids. Like my wife.
Diverting again.
Yeah, that's another show all the way around. That's another show about how many.
He's trying his best. He's trying his best to get to that other show.
I'm just trying to tell you the way I feel. You know, my point of view. You know what I mean? And then, and of course, like, you know, like everybody's bringing part of themselves in. Like you say, all the single mothers can't do this. Well, your mother, other single mothers before them did this. You know, the history.
No, they're doing it. We're not saying, I'm not saying they're not doing it. They
are doing
it. They're making it work.
We make it happen. As women, we make things happen. No matter how hard.
What they say, make a way out of no way.
Yeah.
We make a way out of no way.
Yes,
yes, we do.
Yes.
We've been doing it by ourselves this long. We're gonna learn.
Yes.
No, you do it by yourself. You do it by yourself. There's men out there. They might not be in your home.
They're out there.
There's men out there pushing that metal. There's men out there was going. You know, I know some of you ladies are veterans. It was men going out there in the jungles and stuff like that. It was men standing up police officers protecting their communities and whatever. It's been men out there, right? But it's just not your man. You know what
Captain
I mean?
Jackson.
Okay. Captain, what do you have to say?
The
You okay with that?
Be careful, Captain. Bail out of this one. Be careful.
You know what? I think we have to be able to bring it, kind of reel it back in, because the
all the way back in.
It's clear that the going back to, you know, the virtual learning and the children in that, the young people, and the adults in that environment, for that matter, the men are visibly absent. So how are we continuing to make it possible for our young people to learn? Yeah, the women are doing an awful lot, and they're bringing it home. And are there as many men in that environment as we'd like for to be, or there should be? Probably not. But we just have to make our way through this process.
Right.
Yeah, do we want to be able to return, you know, to some reasonable norms outside of this virtual setting? Yes, but we're just having to work with what we have And then we're also talking about the undue burdens, specifically speaking, that have kind of put our mothers, our women, in a different type of space because they're already accustomed to doing a whole lot. But now with this whole virtual setting, it presents a different
More.
dynamic that no one has ever. We haven't seen this before, and
Not in my lifetime.
no, and we're looking for just a way to continue to cope with this
To make it work.
and to make it work so that our children can be successful, so they can keep pushing and move on out of school, or whatever learning environment they're in. So it's just something that we're just constantly working at and getting used to.
Yeah.
You
If
know,
you can get used to it,
and you don't
Yeah.
really get used to
hard.
it. You just kind of adapt to it.
Adapt
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah, adapt.
You
Yeah.
adapt to it and you keep moving. And
Yeah.
maybe
And you have to
fortunately,
be careful.
you do. You do. You have to be careful.
And we have
Um,
to realize too that this is a lot on the parents. So the parents are going to need a outlet. They're going to need even if it's just a Zoom party with some of your girlfriends, and you're on there, you're talking about everything that's going on and how you feel, and have your glass of wine, and you're just being around adults with no children. Once they go to bed, have your little Zoom party and everything,
Mhm.
and just and let this out. But don't hold it in. Just let it out and cry if you have to. Laugh, cry. Just have a conversation with a group of women, or even the guys, because we know you're going through the same thing.
Yeah.
The guys are going through it. So
Yeah.
we're so used to being able to go out with our girlfriends and have dinner or have drinks, and we can't do that now comfortably. And the guys are used to going out and hanging out with the boys or whatever, but you can't do that comfortably anymore. So we still need an outlet. We still need to have an.
I don't think everybody's bought into that. It was just a couple of days ago. I just thought about when you were saying that. An old friend of mine, she hadn't seen me a long time. She wanted to see me, so she invited me. She told me to come by. That she had this ladies organization set up, and they had this big women's party, right? And at this over down here in McDonald, they had this big ladies party. They had wine tasting and everything. They wore masks. They had tried to keep distances. Food come out, you can't drink wine and eat the good tasting food. I kept lifting my mask up. People still trying to socialize and talk to each other. But I don't think this is gonna happen. I don't think that everybody finally gonna break down and say after this goes along for a while, they will say, oh no, that's all right. Let's do it. I'm gonna do this. I'm going for it. You know what I mean? I cannot live like this. And then since we don't have a good psychiatric system in the state of Georgia or Florida and all like this here, we don't have to deal with it. Or you go to jail and they torture your butt in jail. Don't get that's another thing. That might be another show. But I know
it's another show.
But mental illness is real. We are mentally. We've been mentally ill before this happened. We're mentally ill now, and we still know how to relate to each other. We still know how to interact, and it'd be nice. It'd be nice if we could do this. I like doing a show like this here, right?
I think it goes without saying that there's going to be some degree of mental effect on this.
Absolutely.
Like I said, you made a good point, Cedric. We were already kind of into that setting already, but now with this whole virtual thing where we have become a more technological yet touchless society, where that human interaction is important. So that's going to be something else they'll need to address with that. Now I could sit here and let's just say Miss Jackson is Dr. Jackson. I can sit here and do a one-on-one virtual session, and she can be sitting in her chair and listening to me, pour it all out and talk about the good and the bad and what's not going so good. We could certainly do that. And again, it's an opportunity. It's not the only opportunity, but at least it is an opportunity to allow for that to take place. So yeah, there's a number of different things that we're going to have to, as a society, and specifically Black folk, that we're going to have to deal with as it pertains to this, because our situation is different from our white counterparts.
That is for sure.
Yes.
We have to. We got to make our own way. We've got things don't just come to us already prepared and already ready.
Right.
We've got to make these sacrifices. We got to figure out how we're going to balance work when we're not working from home, we still got to go off site because we're an essential employee. So now we got to leave, and
Mhm.
who are we going to entrust
Mhm.
care of our children with while they're doing their learning? Or are we just going
Absolutely.
are we going to trust in the Lord, which we are accustomed to doing,
Right.
Yeah.
and allow them to carry on with their learning while we're away at work or while we're at the grocery store getting groceries so that we can eat, or even perhaps standing in the food line for hours because all of this is taking place and folks have lost their jobs, or I'm here in California, we're in lockdown mode right now, and
Hmm.
you know they've doubled back on the restaurants, but they shut the restaurants all down, saying that you could only pick up or have your food delivered.
Hmm.
But
Mhm.
they have to double back on that because they could not show statistically that the increase in numbers was contributed to folks eating at restaurants. So they double back on that. But nevertheless, here in LA County, the numbers of hospitalizations, the number of deaths, the number of reported cases, all that has gone up substantially.
Right.
And so all it does is solidify and extend the length of time that we're going to be communicating like this. Yeah, you want to do a job interview. You want your candidate right there in front of you. You have an interaction with a friend in another setting. You want that interaction right next to you. You want to be at the home going. You want to be at the wedding. You want to be at
Yes.
the baby shower. But
Right.
for the interim, we've got to operate like this. For crying out loud, just to get the numbers down.
Absolutely.
We got
Yeah.
folks that aren't playing fair with this virus. When I got on this meeting, I came in with my mask on, had to take it
Yep.
off because
Mhm.
I'm around my mama. My mama's 84 years old,
Hmm.
and I
Mhm.
cannot afford to be
Mhm.
playing around. So
Right.
just as a precaution, I got my mask because that's just how we roll. That's how
Right.
I roll. But folks aren't playing fair. They out here gallivanting with the
Mhm.
mask all up in your face, want to be all close to you and carrying
Yeah.
on. What? Folks are dying.
Yeah.
Folks are
See?
dying.
A lot of
Well,
people
hey, I agree.
don't believe,
I agree with
a lot of people don't believe that this is real, that people are actually dying from it. That's why
Yeah.
they're trying
Right.
to live their life as normal. I mean,
Yeah.
And
it's usual, but
until,
you can't do it. You can't do it until it hits close to home. A lot of people are not
That's
believing.
it. That's it.
Mm.
Unfortunately, that's what it's going to take for some people. And we're talking about, the different things that are being done virtually. Literally, people, I am resourcing people, and I've gone myself to food banks through virtual communication. And this is how it's another survival technique. Hey, where is everybody going for food this week? Where can I go? You understand? And you're communicating with people, and it's unreal sometimes. It
survival
really
of the
is.
fittest. It's
I'm
survival of the
serious.
fittest.
Food.
you know,
People are
you know,
literally depending on getting a virtual, interaction with somebody about just getting food.
like just,
I
Right.
mean, that's
but,
crazy in the
but they still
United
got.
States of America. But people are
Mhm.
still not taking it serious. They're still not, doing
Yep.
what they need to do. And this is
And
where we are.
that's because if it hadn't happened to you, you don't know what it's
You
like.
don't.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's because if it happened to you, then you would take it more seriously.
Absolutely. I
Absolutely.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Hey, can I ask a question now? I'm gonna stay on point this time, right? Has
Hmm.
anybody had to do virtual with their doctors?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you're
Yes.
61. I'm 69. Right. Now you know how that works. It ain't. You still had to go in and take your test and everything, and then the doctor finds you ain't gonna die. He'll have a virtual thing, which well eventually you still have to go see him to the doctor's office, right? And I had a procedure a couple weeks ago, and I had a sister had to go to the hospital for a serious procedure, right? You can't get in some of these hospitals because of the coronavirus, right? So this is real, but you still got to go. You still got to relate, right? You still got to deal with this. And when my doctor, now some doctors, I've been knowing some of my doctors 20 years, some of them 7, but I kind of respect them when they tell me we'll do this online, right? But when I got to have something done or something like that, and I need to really see him because so much I can tell him online, he's gonna be saying, oh well, you gotta do that. He won't give me a chance to say everything because he got a time constraint, right? We gonna have to confer and do it, face to face, right? And then, but just like you were saying, like these food banks, Hosea Williams need hungry. They need plenty of people. what's her name? Sunshine, the redhead, Pinky Red. She needs tons of people to help her with the distribute food.
You talking about Elizabeth Omalami?
Yeah, Elizabeth Omalami, and there's another sister too over in Atlanta, right? Got this big. She's been doing this for years. She's through Parent Street now, like that, haircuts, the whole 9 yards. They need help. They need volunteers. We still need volunteers. We still got to interact with people. I don't care if we like it or not. When I was driving trucks, like recently, I was driving for FedEx. I got to go across country. They shutting down state. I'm scared to death. I get to California, the state shut down. What does that do? They get a little piece of paper saying I'm an essential worker. And I say, and I thought about it. All these trucks out there shut down truck. You can't get nothing to eat, nothing, but you still part carrying disease. Now how they gonna stop disease? They'll shut down our truck. Of course, I don't want to be shut down in California. I don't want to be shut down in Texas. But I've seen them do this to cars and talk 2 weeks straight. But we still have to interact. We still have to interact some way. So this is the thing. This is kind of like one of those things that is like a pacifier. It's something that we can do. Some things we can do on this. We got to do it. It's the best thing. It's gonna lower the chances and the risk of us getting disease or passing on disease. But at the end of the day, you still got to go out there and get that shot in your arm on how to get minus 70 degrees into your arm. I don't know that. That's another show. Well, and let's talk about Christmas next time. But
there's stuff that still you have to do. I mean, let me tell you something. Those trucks on the road, those trucks on the freeway, ain't nobody shut down. That's interstate commerce.
Yeah. I know.
Still getting pushed through. But
I got in there people like Amazon. They had 100,000 some people in the Amazon network that had coronavirus, right? I don't know how much. FedEx won't even tell you, right? But they had live booths. Everybody come in, they had to give you a test, then they just stopped doing it. The numbers went up, and they just stopped giving you tests, right? But you still got to interact, right? And this is like, it's only about a certain percentage of us that can do this, and their job is this, interacting.
That's because they're labeled essential workers. If you're not essential in these states that are shutting down, my daughter lives in Texas, they are shut down. My family is from California, they are shut down. My sister right now who lives here in Atlanta was trying to figure out whether or not to let her kids go back for spring, but my mother, she lives with my mother and father, and it's not healthy for her to do that. But my other daughter who does not have anybody elderly in her home, the kids are begging to plead and to go. It's the teachers are essential. It's just the essential workers that are out there right now. And that's the only interaction that we should be having. We shouldn't have any other type of interaction besides being an essential worker. If you're a truck driver, we need you. Right. We do. We need the truck drivers. They got to get us what we need. The food, the delivery system, yes. But if you out gallivanting and doing everything else, you ain't got no business doing. That's a whole nother level. That's how we're contracting the virus. Okay, when you're doing stuff, there you go. Right. We can't be out there in the club and doing stuff we ain't got no business doing. And then, regardless if you have a mask, and like I said, until you have been in the middle of it, you'll never know. I have a friend who passed 2 months ago. She was 44 years old because her son would not sit his butt down. He wanted to club. Okay. And she was scared and she said it. She said, I'm going to have to put him out because I am worried about my health and he's coming in here. It was too late. She caught it.
You tell the truth, like you've been like your 60s, we went through all kind of viruses, right?
Not like this.
No. Not a pandemic. I have been through a pandemic, but I've been through the crippling diseases and all that, but not a pandemic. This is worse. And I do know people that have passed away from this, right? And I've seen what a funeral looks like. You can't go to a funeral. Whereas a virtual funeral, no, you can't go to a funeral and see your loved one, right? You can't even go in a hospital to see your loved one. I said, I was in the hospital. My family couldn't come to see me. My sister was in the hospital. We couldn't come to see her, and in the condition she was in. But still, this is just only a part of this facade. We still have to interact. Even somebody to fix these machines once they break down, right?
They are essential workers. You're right.
And they still got to interact and touch.
Everybody you're talking about are essential workers. You're right. But you're not talking about I went to go see Susie May at the club. You're talking about being at the hospital.
Well, it could be essential depending on what kind of job she had. Because it's like, I'm doing Uber. Check this out. The Swingers Club, they've been busting them, but
Jesus fix it. Fix it.
The stripper bars, they wide open.
Jesus fix it.
They wide open. You know what I'm saying? Can you imagine what these people do? They go to
help us, Eric.
Look,
Captain Jackson.
I don't look. I don't know what kind of club you went by, but the The ones that I happen to go by, them doors are locked with padlocks wrapped all around the bed. Nobody
Oh,
ain't trying to hear nothing
It's
about
some that are
anybody.
open.
California?
ain't got
In
time for all
California?
that.
Okay, go down to Fort Industrial Boulevard, all right? Go
No,
go down
sir.
on Peter Street.
No, sir.
Oh yeah.
It's
Oh,
a
yeah.
cloud of
Hey,
it's probably
I
a
can
cloud of
picture that.
coronavirus hovering over there in industrial. I don't want to be near that.
That's
There's
right.
always a
That's
cloud
right.
back
So-
during the 80s, there was a cloud of 80s hanging on there, but it's still out there.
Look,
It's still open. You know what I
the
mean?
name
Yeah.
the name of the game is
Yeah.
and what they're doing here in California is a stay-at-home order. Now
Yes.
they know folks got to go to the store. They know folks need recreation, which is what really allows for me to get out of the house with my mom and let her see stuff outside these four walls. So that qualifies as a recreation. But I can't be taking my mama to the mall.
No.
I can't.
No.
I even when when Jackie called me, she said, "Hey, you ready for this meeting?" I was at the mausoleum visiting my dad and my late dad and my late sister, but I needed to go into the grocery store to get the flowers and get all that prepared so that we could do what we did at the mausoleum. But we couldn't. I wasn't gonna drag my mama into the grocery store. That's unnecessary. She stayed in that air conditioned car
Mm-hmm.
and waited until I came back. And that's what I was saying. I have to, and that's what all these health directors and all these jurisdictions are trying to encourage people to do. Even for those places that do have stay-at-home orders, they're saying, look, folks, put the mask on. I think Joe Biden, President-elect Biden has said already, he wants to ask the people for 100 days of wearing your mask.
I'm down
He
for
knows
that.
he knows they aren't going to stay hunkered down in their homes.
Yeah.
But when they
Wear
do
a
go out
mask.
for those essential matters,
Wear
I
a
need you to
mask.
have your mask on. If you're in a car with someone other than your family, I need you to have
Wear a
your mask
mask.
on. If you're working, essentially, like in my fire station, the chief didn't mandate it, but I mandated it in my fire station. If you're cooking in the station, you will have your mask on. If I'm talking to you in close conversation, you
Yeah.
can have your mask on. And when we're in that fire engine responding to those calls, you'll have your mask on because that fire engine is nothing more than an encapsulation of different people whose backgrounds I'm not aware of once they leave the job. So
You know,
we've got to be safe, even as essential workers. So in order
I
for the
agree with
numbers
you.
to go down, we've
Yeah.
got to exercise some discretion, and we have to exercise some due diligence amongst one another. You know, if I saw Miss Jackson in person, I don't know her. I don't know her like that. I better have my mask on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, and even I know Jackie. I better have Jacqueline. I'm sorry. I better have my mask on just because we need to play this thing safe. We need to be mindful of other people.
Yeah.
Because every one of you all, I got pre-existing conditions. Miss Cassandra says she had pre-existing conditions.
Yeah.
As a people, we're kind of afflicted, which is why it affects us the most. Us and
You know what?
brown folks and Pacific Islanders and Asians. So we have to do what's necessary to make sure that we keep the numbers down and that we keep each other safe.
Right.
For the immediate future, virtual learning, virtual loving, virtual arguing, virtual preaching, it's gonna be on deck for a minute.
But I hear what you're saying. But look, check this out. Like the number of murders done went up out in the street, right? Atlanta usually have 500 shootings, right? Annual, right? They got 700 and the year ain't over with. They had 700 last month. You ain't over with, right? There's mental illness going on. It's just like, then there's more. Yeah, this virtual thing is good, right? But then it's still people are people. You feel personal. How long is it gonna last? I believe in the mask. 100 days. If you say 100, you say 180 days. I'm down for it, right? When I go out the house, it's gonna be a mask. I still wash my hands. I did that before this here, before the coronavirus, because I got COPD. Flu, anything, cold can take me out. So I got to be very cautious about who I be around and what I do. But it's people are still going on. So we got really have like if mass, but if virtual, if we had to do virtual, we can find a way to make virtual more palatable and easier to digest. We go late, like one state they were going late at night or something. I don't know, Alaska or something. They were doing night instead of daytime virtual learning for the kids when the parents are home from work, trying to adjust to that. Those are adjustments that we need to make. But depending on, just completely depending on this virtual thing, 90% of us have job that you had to go out and work. You know, you're flipping hamburgers. Well, most are flipping hamburgers now. Or we start getting the machine industry starts coming back. We start actually producing things in this country. Or we start going back at the farm like we used to do when I was coming up. Or we start producing foods and stuff like that. It's still going to require that type of thing that we cannot do this way. But so it's just a way that we have to learn how to integrate these things and being safe, and how the things that we need to do and learn, because
Well, and that's what we're doing. We're there's something, you're right. There's some things you just can't. You have to be. There has to be some sort of physical presence with certain things. Yeah, you go to get something to eat. Yeah, you can't get something to eat virtually. They're trying to make it so that you can by ordering food and Ubering and all that stuff, which is fine. It all has its place.
Drone. They got the drone.
There are some, but there are certain things that you have to be present for. You know what? I would love. Let me tell you something.
I don't like people picking my food. I can't see them. I don't like
church.
Hold on, Mr. Cedric. Hold on a second. Go ahead, Captain. Finish.
I have been missing church since the beginning of the year. I have never, ever been out of church. I remember it was I think it was the fourth Sunday in March when everything shut down. I have never been out of church this long. Yeah. But we had to adapt, and thankfully, we were already on Facebook having a service online. But then it just like that, it moved to every Sunday. You know, we're doing virtual communion. So we got to get our own juice, our own crackers, and have that amongst our family. I never thought I'd be out of church this long. But the churches, what was it down there in Albany? They had a service. I think it was a homegoing service, but they had all those folks packed up in that church.
Yeah.
And then it was some folks in Texas, likewise, our white counterparts, who decided that the Lord was going to cover them. Mm-hmm. And they were going to go to church anyway.
I saw that.
Corona.
Yeah.
Corona. Church too.
So
all up in the church.
So we don't want to, I get it, but we just have to do what we have to do relating to this whole virtual thing, and be it in school, events, conferences and those things like that. That stuff, the Georgia World Congress Center is not doing any business right now. Except, right. Matter of fact, they use that space to make another makeshift hospital. How about that?
They did.
Yeah.
They did.
So yeah, we're all making do with what's going on with this, and just doing our very best to get through it all. And hopefully, these numbers are continuing to skyrocket and go up. So there's more of a push to if you don't have to go out, stay at home. Stay at home. It's a hard one to fight. I'm being truthful. It is. Even just going to the store, or God, I want to see my partners. I know I'm not supposed to, so but I do it anyway. But it's like a drive-by, It's like, hey.
Or you can do it on Zoom now. You can see them on Zoom. Zoom meetings.
No, but I mean,
like you said, we have to adapt. We have to adapt.
What's the harm if I do a drive-by to go? Look, if I do a drive-by,
you can do a drive-by.
If I do a drive-by,
Lynette and I, we're best friends, and probably about a month into it. I mean, because usually we would go out to have breakfast all the time. We were always together, and then it stopped, and we couldn't be together. We even wear masks around each other now. So about a month into it, what we did was like, look, we went and got breakfast. We went up to a parking lot, and we had our cars, where the driver's side can both see each other, but we were at a distance, and we sat in our own cars and we ate breakfast. We saw each other. We talked to each other. We laughed. We cried. Whatever. We were there for about 2 or 3 hours. You have to do
creative. You made it creative.
You gotta be creative. You gotta make it work. You gotta make it work, or you'll go crazy, because they're taking away what is normal to you as far as like going out all the time and being together. Now it's like you can't do that. So you have to find a way to make it work.
Absolutely.
And if that's doing a drive-by to say what's up to your
Yeah.
boys, you just have to do what you have to do. And if that made you feel better, and that, I mean, whatever works, but you just cannot be consumed with all of this, because I should own stock with CNN right now. That's how bad it is right now. You know, because I'm watching it too much. You know, it's too much. You know,
Right.
but
Well, there's our music. So we're gonna have to wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for being on the show. It was amazing.
Thank you.
Love you guys. And next week we're gonna talk about the holidays. So join us again Facebook Live for the holidays. Just remember everything you heard and everything we said was our point of view.
Our
Thank you
point
so
of
much. We'll see you next time. Thank you guys. We appreciate you.
Out party. Okay, that was great. That was great.
That went way too
Okay.
fast.
Huh?
That went way
That
too
was
fast.
great.
It was an hour and a half.
Hour and a half, yeah.